So, what if I told you that your personality, everything you think of as you, isn't actually set in stone? What if it's really just a habit? And according to neuroscientist Dr. Joe Dispenza, it's a habit you can absolutely break to create a whole new life. Let's dive in and unpack exactly how to do that.
Seriously, think about it. You wake up, you feel those same old familiar emotions, you think pretty much the same 60,000 thoughts you had yesterday, you drive the same route to work, and you do the same things that trigger the exact same reactions. It really feels like you're just on autopilot, right? Stuck in this loop. And, well, according to the science, you kind of are.
I mean, it makes sense when you break it down. Your personality is just how you think, how you act, and how you feel. But here's the wild part. By the time we're about 35, a whopping 95% of who we are is just a subconscious program. Your body has literally memorized how to be you, and it's running that set of instructions day in and day out, without you even having to think about it. We've just practiced being ourselves for so long that it's become second nature.
Okay, but this is where it gets really exciting. Because if your personality is just a habit that you've learned, well, that means you can also unlearn it. You can literally disconnect from that old way of being and create a new one. You can lose your old mind and build a brand new one. And that's exactly what we're going to break down.
So, before we can actually change, we have to get a handle on the core problem itself, what Dr. Dispenza calls the habit of being you.
Dr. Dispenza talks a lot about this gap. On one side, you've got how we appear, that happy, put-together, successful mask we show everyone. But on the other side, there's who we really are, how we actually feel on the inside, which, let's be honest, is often a completely different story. And it takes a ton of energy to constantly hold up that facade and bridge the gap between our inner and outer worlds.
This quote from Dr. Dispenza himself just hits it right on the head. We get so dependent on our external world, our jobs, our friends, our routines, to remind us of who we think we are. In a very real way, we become addicted to our environment. So if you take that familiar world away, that identity we've so carefully built can feel like it's just going to fall apart.
Okay, so what is it that keeps us so stuck in this state, just running the same old programs every single day? Well, Dispenza points to three main culprits, which he calls the big three.
All right, pay close attention, because this loop is everything. It all starts with your environment. You see the same people, go to the same places, and that triggers the same old thoughts. Then, those thoughts create chemical reactions that produce feelings in your body. And get this, your body can literally become addicted to those emotions, whether it's guilt, anger, or frustration. And finally, all of this is trapped in time. We're either replaying the past over and over, or we're trying to predict a future that looks just like our past. It's this closed loop that just runs on autopilot.
This shows us the two states we can live in. When you're stuck in that big three loop, you're living in survival mode. You're constantly reacting. You're stressed, you feel like a victim of your circumstances. But when you break free, you step into the state of creation. This is where your inner world, your thoughts and your feelings, starts to shape your outer world. You stop being a victim of your past, and you start becoming the creator of your future.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds like a nice self-help idea, but is it real? Well, it is, and it's actually grounded in some pretty solid science. So let's get into the science of your potential and see how this kind of change is even possible.
The key idea here, the absolute game changer, is neuroplasticity. This is the incredible scientific fact that your brain is not hardwired. It's constantly changing. Every single time you learn something new or have a new thought, you are making new connections in your brain. And here's the most powerful part. Your thoughts alone can literally, physically, change the structure of your brain.
Okay, so look at this number, 22%. Any guesses what that could be? It's a huge clue about just how powerful your mind really is.
So that number comes from this amazing study. You had one group that physically did finger strengthening exercises, and they got about 30% stronger. But then, a second group just mentally rehearsed the exact same exercises in their mind without ever moving a muscle. The result? They got 22% stronger. I mean, how wild is that? Their thoughts alone produced a real, measurable physical change in their bodies.
All right, so if our thoughts are powerful enough to literally build muscle, the big question is, how do we use that power to create a whole new reality for ourselves?
This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Because, as I'm sure a lot of us have found out, just thinking positively isn't really enough. There's a crucial missing piece to the puzzle that most people don't know about.
This experiment with DNA gives us the answer. So, researchers tested 3 groups. The first group just focused on feeling elevated emotions like love and gratitude. The result? No change in the DNA. The second group held a clear intention to change the DNA, but they did it without any real feeling. Again, nothing. But look at group 3. When they combined a clear intention with an elevated emotion, they were actually able to physically change their DNA, winding or unwinding the strands by up to 25%.
And that gives us the magic formula for real change. It's 2 simple things. First, you need a clear intention. That's the focus thought. That's your mind. Second, you need an elevated emotion. That's the genuine, heartfelt feeling from your body, as if what you want has already happened. When you combine the thought with the feeling, you create a whole new state of being. And that's what sends out a powerful new signal to the universe.
You can think about it like this. The thought, the intention from your brain, that's the blueprint. But the elevated emotion from your heart, that's the energy, the magnetic charge, the catalyst that brings that blueprint to life. Your thoughts send the electrical signal out, and your feelings create the magnetic field that draws the new experience back to you.
So how do we actually put this all together and use it in our daily lives? Well, it all boils down to one central, incredibly powerful idea: living your future in the now.
And this is the key. You don't wait for success to feel abundant. You don't wait for the perfect relationship to feel loved. You have to learn how to generate the feeling of your future, right here in the present moment. Because when you do that, your body, which only understands feelings, starts to believe it's already living in that new reality. You are literally conditioning your body to a new mind.
And this quote right here is the ultimate goal. You completely flip the script. You stop being a product of your environment, and you start making your environment a product of you. When how you think and feel on the inside becomes more real than what's happening on the outside, that, my friends, is what Dr. Dispenza calls greatness. So, I'm going to leave you with this question to really think about. That one automatic thought, that one knee-jerk emotional reaction, that one limiting belief that always seems to hold you back. If you could break just one habit of being your old self, what would it be? And where would you start? Because the power to decide is and always has been right inside of you.